All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I made a big mistake last night going to sleep. I think it was before 11. I was in the middle of watching Kansas, Texas Tech, like at the start of the second half. And then I also just got done finished watching the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. And I didn't plan on going to bed, but I was like, you know what, I'm dozing off. I'll rewatch everything in the morning. And especially this time of the year, I feel like wake up just on my own throughout the night because I'm like, all right, what if Giannis gets traded in the middle of the night? That didn't happen, but out of nowhere, James Harden requested a trade from the Los Angeles Clippers, which is kind of crazy. So Shams reported it like, I think around like 11:15 last night. And this is an article from Ramona Shelburne at ESPN, basically saying that the Clippers and guard James Harden are working through whether the sides can find a deal by Thursday's trade deadline. The Cavs are one of the teams expressing serious interest in Harden, with the sides discussing a Harden for Garland swap. Okay. Sources told Shams, and then this is basically that Harden can veto any trade because he's technically under contract for only this season because it's a 1+1. So Harden can be a free agent in the offseason because he signed basically that 1+1 player option. Same thing we've been talking about all year with Fred VanVleet, how he can't, or like the Rockets have to get Fred VanVleet to approve of any trade because of it's the 1+1. And this blew my mind because the Los Angeles Clippers are the 9th seed in the Western Conference. They've been arguably a top 3 team ever since December 20th. Like, they were at one point, they lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder by 21. They're 6-21, and they ended up losing to Philadelphia by 15. I mean, Harden didn't play in that game either. And then they are now 23-26 on the season. They are 17th in net rating, 11th in offensive rating, 21st in defensive rating. Now, this has definitely been a disappointing Clipper season. Still, overall, given the expectations we had for them going into the year, they were projected to win 50 games. We thought they could have maybe beat Denver last year, and they played physical enough to maybe beat OKC. Neither of those happened, but they go out in the offseason. They replaced Norman Powell with Bradley Beal. That's turned out to be a disaster. John Collins got off to a slow start, but has been playing well as of late. And the Clippers, like I said, like, look at all of these wins. And they've been getting basically nothing this year out of Bogdan Bogdanovic, obviously nothing out of Chris Paul, nothing out of Bradley Beal. And we'll see, like, will they move Brook Lopez at the deadline? Will they move Bogdan Bogdanovic at the deadline? Would they move John Collins at the deadline as well? Guys like Jordan Miller have stepped up. Kobe Sanders as a second-round pick has definitely stepped up for this team. Yannick Niederhauser has had a nice couple games, but no consistent playing time. And basically their best perimeter defender, Derek Jones Jr., has only played 17 games this year. So this was definitely a bombshell in a way. Like, I was like, huh? And then I'm like, I got like a bunch of notifications when I woke up saying that was like, from like a bunch of different outlets. I'm like, did Harden get traded? I'm like, he's a Cav. And then I was like, all right, no, he didn't get traded yet, but he requested a trade for the 4th time in his career. He requested a trade out of Houston. He requested a trade out of Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and now Los Angeles. I mean, it comes to a point, Harden, I can't really defend you with this anymore. Why? Now, Harden is not extension eligible right now because of the player option. He basically can re-sign with them on June 29th when free agency starts. There's no extension that he could sign throughout the season. So maybe he and his agent like went to, I don't even know, like went to the Clippers front office and said like, all right, in the offseason, I want a 2-year, $80 million extension. And they're like, no. I don't know why the Clippers would say that, and I don't know why Harden would do that mid-season. I think Harden's been playing well enough where he's probably deserving of another contract for sure. He's still not like elite, but he's pretty damn good. Like, you could have made an argument he could have been an all-star. I think Kawhi should have made it over him, but now we have a bunch of different conspiracy theories where it's just like, does Harden know that Kawhi's going to get suspended for the aspiration scandal? Kawhi should have been an all-star. Was it an all-star? And Harden's like, get me the hell out of here. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation around this going forward. I don't know why the Clippers would be like, we're not signing you to an extension when they could just say we will and just not do it in the offseason. But maybe this is a good thing for them in disguise, because the Clippers can maybe get an asset long-term for Harden, because, hey, the Clippers have had a great run over these last 6 weeks, but we know that they have their eyes set on cap flexibility long-term. After 2027, there's only Zubats under contract, guaranteed right now. It could be Cam Christie, could be Yannick Niederhauser. Everybody else is off the books. They're going to have so much cap space in the offseason to 2027 when Giannis, Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, all these guys are free agents. So maybe they don't want to extend James Harden, which is fine, but I don't think they were going to win a playoff series this year. If they somehow drew like San Antonio, like any non-Denver OKC team, yeah, I think they could maybe win in round number one or at least have a competitive series. I don't think they're beating OKC or Denver, but I guess you never know, especially if they made a win now move at the deadline, given Lopez, Bogdanovich, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, like none of these guys have really been giving them great minutes this year. I guess Lopez the most out of that group. So we'll see what they end up doing. I mean, the trade deadline's this Thursday. I didn't expect to be making an every James Harden trade idea video, but here we are. I mean, the first one I guess we got to talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they've been rumored. Immediately James Harden requests a trade and Cavs are already rumored. Like, whoa, who is leaking this out of the Cavs front office? Now, I get what the Cavs are trying to do in a way too, because hey, the repeat offender, when you're in the apron, it's gruesome, man. I don't think their 2032 first round pick is locked, but it will be, I believe, if they're in the second apron next year. We know that they already traded away DeAndre Hunter to basically duck some of the tax money going forward, and they get Schroeder, who's making about $10 million less than Hunter and Ellis's expiring contract. So I think the Cavs, like, we knew that this core of Allen, Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley can only last so long, especially when they don't even have a conference finals to show for it. So I thought last year was like the nail in the coffin to this core, right? They were going to trade Garland or Allen in the offseason, and we were going to see them reshuffle this core. But then Halliburton gets hurt, Tatum gets hurt. They won 64 games in the regular season last year. They got to be like, all right, we can win it all this year. Now, it sucks again. The Cavs, who've also been somewhat disappointing this year, they're 30-21, though. They're only like 2 games behind of the Knicks, who are the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Like, they're still a top 10 team in terms of net rating. Guys have missed some time this year, right? Like, Mitchell's been healthy. Mobley's missed some time, and he's currently missing time. Garland has missed a lot of time this year. Allen's missed almost 10 games this year. Max Strus hasn't played a single game, and it sucks because in hindsight, you're like, we should have signed Ty Jerome and not traded for Lonzo Ball, but hindsight's always 20/20. This team would go out and trade for James Harden because Garland is under contract for 3 more years. I don't know if they would extend Harden, because if Harden wants that extension in the offseason, he's essentially getting the same duration of Garland. And maybe they think Harden can be a better defensive backcourt option than Garland, but do we hear ourselves? I know that I think there's always a limitation on 2 small guards in your backcourt that can't really defend at a high level. And that's why the Knicks, like, put Bridges and Anunoby and maybe at the time DiVincenzo and Josh Hart around Brunson. That's why Steph Curry, when they were at their peak, had Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins. Obviously Kevin Durant was there, Iguodala, like some great defenders around Steph. So if you have a smaller guard, you kind of need to have elite defenders around you. And the Cavs have, I think, that limitation with Garland and Mitchell in that backcourt. Now, there's been talks that Mitchell, like, hey, he could be a free agent in 2027. Well, he's signed an extension with them. He's got the same extension timeline as Giannis, like October of next year. If he doesn't sign an extension, you don't want to lose this asset for nothing, especially with how expensive your team is. So are they going to ever trade Mitchell? Are they going to extend Mitchell and give him that 5 for $275 million deal where he can't really say no to that? And then you could always get traded if you really wanted to off that extension. You're paying Mobley, obviously, for the next 5 years. Allen, you're paying for the next 4 years. I thought he could be on the move as well. I would be shocked if they actually did something like this. So, like, does Garland and for Harden make money? Or I think that might work financially. Wow, it does. I think the Cavs said, like, the Clippers got to throw a pick. And that's the only reason I'm doing this if I'm the Cavs. If I think I could still get a high-level guard that can help us in the playoffs, a la James Harden. And then it's like, I could get their 2032 first-round pick, top 4 protector or something like that. Or, yeah, it's like, or 20, what, they could move 2030? Top 4 protected, like something like that, right? Like you're kicking in a first round pick. So it's like, all right, we're getting, it's probably somebody better than Garland right now. But for the future, I'd rather have Garland, given that Garland's what, 26 years old? Harden's 36 years old or whatever. Harden's 37. Oh, off the top of my head, I think he's 36 or 37. He is 36. How many more elite years does Harden have? Is Harden going to be okay? Like, he was like the 3rd option 2 years ago for Paul George, and like his numbers, he had like 16 points per game in Los Angeles, and then he obviously got to be the number 1 last year when Kawhi was hurt, and kind of back and forth between the number 1 this year. I mean, you go to Cleveland, you're probably the number 2. I just don't really know if this makes Cleveland better. Like, if I'm getting nice draft capital from the Clippers, we can have this conversation. I just don't know why the Cavs are doing this. Like, I'm trading Garland for a wing, or I'm trading him for a stretch 4, or I'm trading Garland and Allen for a really good wing, and I'm bumping Mobley to the 5. I don't think this really does anything for you now. And if anything, it really shortens your window because Harden's 10 years older than Darius Garland. So I don't know how true this rumor was. I mean, I am doing this in a heartbeat if I'm the Clippers, because I still think Garland has positive trade value. And I don't, like, and Garland's been a better shooter in his career than like John Morant, and he's been, I don't know, like you could compare him to Trae Young in a way where the league is going away from these smaller guards out there that could just get matchup hunted and just, yeah, like targeted every single time defensively in a playoff series. But Garland's been efficient. Garland's a good playmaker. The contract isn't like the worst in the world, like 39, 42, 44. It could be worse, and it's not like you have to re-sign him anytime soon. I guess he is extension eligible. Is it also in October? Darius Garland would be extension eligible, or maybe they don't have it here. Why can't I see Klay Thompson for them? Is that a glitch? I guess Garland is not here, but I think Garland is extension eligible. I don't know why Klay Thompson's here. Maybe that is Klay Thompson, or that's supposed to be Gar. I don't know. That's some glitch here on Spot Track, but yeah, it says like Garland's extension eligible at the end of this year. But it still gives you the Clippers like a $44 million expiring. But honestly, like we look at the 2027 free agents real quick. I mean, I can't see Jokic leaving Denver. Giannis, who the hell knows, but I don't think you can really bet on that. So I don't mind having Garland as already one piece and maybe adding another piece to Darius Garland. I don't know, like Kawhi will be 35, Kevin Durant's going to be 38, Zach LaVine's going to be 31, because these aren't their ages now, right? No, I don't think so. Like Paul George will be almost 37 years old. AD's going to be 34, like Giannis will be 32. You have Jalen Green, you have Randall, you have Tyler Hero, Isaiah Hardenstein. Like there's a lot of free agents out there. I don't know. Like blue chippers, though, it's Giannis and Nikola Jokic, but I just can't see Jokic. Like when they throw down 5 years, 300 million on the table or 400 million, whatever it's going to be hard to say no. So, I mean, I'm doing this if I'm the Clippers. I am, if I don't have to throw in a first, though, it's tough. I don't think it's worth the first. I'd rather just Harden's contract expire, to be honest with you, because I don't think Garland's going to move the needle for you. And I don't know. It's not a bad asset to have. I'm just really shocked that the Cavs would trade Garland for Harden and not Garland for, I mean, the wing market isn't anything spectacular, but why don't you call up the Miami Heat and do Garland for like Wiggins and something else? I'd rather probably have Wiggins than James Harden, or call up the Blazers. I mean, they don't need another guard, so it's tough. Like call up the Pelicans. Do you want Garland for Herb Jones and Yves Missi in a first round pick or something like that? Like that I'd rather do than trade away Garland for Harden. Maybe I'm in the minority there. It's crazy. It is definitely crazy. So that's one team that obviously we had to talk about. Minnesota could be another team as well. It's also tough for them to make the money work financially. I mean, Harden's also not making like a ton of money. It's not like he's making 54 like Anthony Davis. Like it's at 39, and he'd be able to veto any trade. So if you're 39, you can easily get there with Gobert. I'd assume it'd be like Randall and Mike Conley in a way. This could make the Clippers better, you could think. So this actually hard caps them at the first apron, which is kind of crazy. So say instead of Conley, it was Dillingham. Does that work financially? No. And then say we do, I don't know, like Joe Ingles to make the money work. I just want to see something here. Okay, so like that works financially. So Harden or Randall, Dillingham, and Ingles for James Harden. You would insert Naz Reid into the starting lineup. You don't really lose any depth if you're Minnesota here, because Randall's your only playable guy out of these three going out. Harden and Ant is your backcourt. I don't really know if that moves the needle for you either. Like your closing five is obviously Harden, Ant, McDaniels, Naz Reid, Gobert. It's pretty good. It's really good. And then you'd still have DiVincenzo, Bones Highland, Baron J off the bench. I know they're in the Giannis talks right now, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like that's another deal. If I'm at Los Angeles, I mean, I don't hate this. You can reroute Dillingham to a different team for some second round draft capital, or you could see if you can fix him. Smaller guard, limited ceiling, but it's not the worst idea in the world. Obviously, Ingles is just in there to make the money work, and Randall also can give you flexibility in 2027. Like, he's only making $30 million than $33 million. Like, it's not that expensive for like a number 3 option. I guess he'd be your number 2, obviously, next to Kawhi Leonard, just another guy in the front court. But then who's going to be a guard for this team on the Clippers if they're not getting a guard back? Because Bradley Beal's out for the year. Chris Paul's not playing. Like, it's Chris Dunn, it's Cam Christie, and it's maybe Kobe Sanders. Like, that's very thin in a way. Or Jordan Miller, who's kind of more of like a 3. So Dillingham might be their starting point guard. It's just an idea. I don't hate this for Minnesota. Honestly, I don't really think this ruins their window or ruins their ceiling in a way. But this basically eliminates you from a Giannis deal down the line. But I think you got to consider Minnesota if they want to shake things up. I don't think Tim Connolly is scared of shaking things up. but they might also be like, we want a first round pick in that deal as well, given James Harden's age at the moment. This is crazy, honestly, that Harden could get traded, but there's a chance he doesn't get traded, and then what? He just opts out and leaves? Hey, some more teams have cap space in free agency. If I look here at I think I can just pull up cap space. If I look at team cap space here for next year, projected cap space, the Cavs, why is the thing 170? What am I looking at here? All right, so I think it's technically this number here, but it's definitely off in a way. I think this is the season. Yeah, only the Jazz and the Nets have cap space. So next year, like the Nets are basically like $50 or so million under the first apron, and then you can like withdraw cap holds and stuff. Like, yeah, there's the Nets, the Grizzlies can maybe clear up some cap. The Jazz are gonna have cap space as well. I mean, some more teams will have cap space this offseason going forward, where Harden could theoretically leave. But the Timberwolves are one fun one. I saw this on Twitter as well. It would be a fun storyline, and I think, I don't know, Fred VanVleet could waive his no trade clause in this deal, where we're gonna send Fred VanVleet to the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't know if this is really that favorable for the Clippers, but we send James Harden back to the Houston Rockets. I don't know if he wants to pair up with KD again, but this is exactly the guard they need, and they could somewhat get there financially. You could do Finney-Smith, VanVleet. I mean, that doesn't work financially. Say you throw in, I think you'd want to keep like all these guys down here. If I throw in Aaron Holiday, does this work? So this works financially, right? You get to keep all your young guys, which I would want to keep as well. I mean, maybe Tari Eason is what does it. Jabari Smith Jr. would probably be an intriguing asset here, and that could be in the offseason. Or say you could do Jabari Smith Jr. and Dorian Finney-Smith. That works financially, but the problem is you can't trade him yet because he's poison-pilled. So his rookie extension that he signed in the offseason has not kicked in yet. So basically, they would only be sending out $12 million, but the team acquiring him would be getting $25 million. So it's really tough to make the money work financially. I don't think... So then basically, there's a $27 million gap between Harden and Jabari Smith. That's not going to work financially for the Rockets. So it's really tough there. So you could throw in these players, just theoretically. And what the Rockets have is some interesting draft capital, right? They have a Suns unprotected 27. They have the Nets swap in 27 as well. Like, if you're the Clippers, do you think about this deal? Where it's like, Fred VanVleet could give you cap space this summer. Dorian Finney-Smith is not a fully guaranteed contract on the rest of it. I just want to look up if next year is guaranteed. Next year is guaranteed, but then it becomes non-guaranteed. So it's essentially a $13 million expiring and Aaron Holiday. So you're getting a lot of expiring money either this year or next year, still keeping that timeline. Plus you're getting a 2027, we'll say Suns first round pick. Hey, you don't know. They could regress next year. I don't know if they would throw in like a Dallas first rounder or they'll throw in the Brooklyn swap. This is just a fun like reunion and homecoming for Harden. I would say it's a damn good story. And this makes the Rockets a lot better given their point guard issues this year. And they would have, I guess at the peak, Harden, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Tari Eason, or Jabari Smith Jr. and Şengün. It sucks Steven Adams is out for the year. So then maybe you include Adams in this trade. Because I think you can maybe keep Aaron Holiday. Because if you do Adams and VanVleet, does that work financially? Like, that works financially. But obviously you're going to have to kick in some draft capital. I just don't know if the Clippers are ready to punt this season, and this feels like they're punting this season. I just don't know if Steve Ballmer would sign off on that. It's weird because the All-Star game's in the Intuit Dome. Kawhi could get in as an injury replacement, but I do think it's weird that he didn't end up as an All-Star. So that's another deal. That's just kind of a fun storyline. I mean, Miami's been linked to like Ja and some other point guards around the league. Now they want to keep probably their assets open for Giannis. We'll say maybe Giannis doesn't happen. And honestly, they would, I guess, reunite Powell. What they could do if the Harden value is really not that much and they just want to get him off their team, we could do Terry Rozier, we could do Davion Mitchell, and that works financially. So Terry Rozier just got rewarded his whole contract, and if that's the case, and Miami's got to pay Terry Rozier to not play for them because he's currently suspended because he's under investigation for gambling on his actual games, they should be able to trade him. That is so unfair to Miami if you can't trade him. So we're going to do Rozier, Mitchell, and then maybe, like, Jovic is tough because he's a poison pill. I don't know if you would do Yakuchonis in this deal. I think it's, honestly, Rozier, Mitchell, and a swap. And it's tough because Miami doesn't really have that many picks. Like, I don't think 2 seconds gets it done. Say you do a 2032 swap, but that eliminates an asset for Giannis, right? Say Giannis wants to be a Heat in the offseason, and you think you can get that deal done, then it really does eliminate, or it eliminates kind of what you could do as well. It's tough because they don't have like a lot of second-round draft capital. I think Yakuchonis would probably get this deal done, and that's an intriguing young piece for the Clippers, I'll say. But It's just like, does Miami want to do that with James Harden? Like, I don't really think that puts them over the edge. Let's say we do Chris Paul coming back, because Chris Paul's got to be on a new team. This would be cool if this worked financially. It does. I mean, Rozier, Mitchell, Jokic for Harden and Chris Paul. Who says no? It just really depends what's going on inside the Clippers, like, war room, right? Like, are they just saying, honestly, let's get any future assets? You're getting Rozier's expiring money. You're getting Davion Mitchell, who's either one, a tradable point guard, or two, just a good player around Kawhi Leonard. And then you also get a young point guard, Kasparis Jokic going forward as either just another asset or something like that. So that's a possibility for Miami. I don't think Harden's going to have that much trade value. And it's just like, I don't know, would they want to trade away James Harden, for like nothing? Atlanta has like the expiring money. I think we could do McCollum or close to it. So you can't just send him out. Does this work? They do. Okay, this does work. So it's McCollum's expiring for James Harden. I'm going to assume the Hawks would have to bump something in, but they can't aggregate McCollum's salary, correct? So say they threw in, I don't know, they just trade away McCutcheon. I'm just going to throw an ace in Newell. I don't think they would actually do this. I actually can't even put anybody else in because of that. So say you throw in, like, are you about to trade away they do have 7 second rounders, which I did tweet out that, hey, Anthony Davis, 7 second rounders. Do you send out CJ McCollum and, I don't know, 5 second round picks for James Harden? But then it's like, why did we trade away Trae Young? Right? Why did we trade away Trae Young? But we get James Harden, who would be under our roster next year. Get James Harden in the city of Atlanta. Oh, that's going to help the narratives. Just keep him away from Magic City. And then I just don't know why Atlanta would do this, honestly. I mean, Atlanta doesn't have a reason to be bad this year. They're going to get a top pick regardless. Harden could opt in, and you could be okay giving Harden 2 years, $80 million, which is way less than what you were going to have to give Trae Young probably on at least a 2-year extension. And Trae Young's making, $48 million on a player option next year. So you get James Harden for $40 million a year for the last, good years of his career, and you hope you're better next year. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. Because it's just optic-wise, why did we trade away Trae Young just to trade away or trade for James Harden? The jokes will be out there. But, hey, if you're trading away Trae Young and 5 second rounders, or Trae Young and Vic Krejci and 2 seconds for James Harden and Corey Kispert, that's not the worst deal in the world on paper. So that's a possibility as well, Atlanta. And then I don't Charlotte, no. Orlando, no. Indy, no. Chicago, no. Philly, no. Toronto, I thought about this earlier in the year. It's just we could get this deal done with RJ Barrett. I assume they would want quickly in the deal, and they're more linked to Domantas Sabonis. So I just don't think this is happening, although this could help them. Say we do, it's tough financially though. If Quickly's on the table, yes, but I just don't think the Clippers want anything to do with Quickly, just because of his contract. Plus, you're gonna have to kick in a first-round pick. So, let me just do a 3-for-1 here, see if this works financially. It's tough to work out financially, and I don't really think that's going to happen. They haven't really been linked to Harden, although Harden, Quickly, or Harden and Jacoby Walter, Barrett, Barnes, and a center, I'm intrigued. I could be moved. Dallas, no, although it's fun. New Orleans would be hilarious just because they don't own their first-round pick, but no. Sacramento, no. Utah, no. Phoenix, I don't think they do it. Just Jalen Green is a lot younger, and that's who would have to be in the deal. And obviously, they're not trading Dylan Brooks. Knicks, no. Wizards, no. Trailblazers, no. They just have a lot of guards as it is, and Scoot's about to come back. So there's 2 teams that I didn't mention. Brooklyn, no. Boston, no. Denver, no. Lakers, one, we could probably make it work financially. It's just Harden and Luka does not work. That's not what they need. They need defenders. And you could probably do Vincent, Cleveland, Vanderbilt connected. That could maybe get there, but why would they do that, right? So we're going to eliminate them. Grizzlies, no. That leaves us to Milwaukee, no. So that leaves us 2 teams that don't really need Harden, but could make a desperation effort in a way. Maybe the Golden State Warriors are the desperation effort. So we can't get Giannis. We don't want to eliminate a Steph season at 38. And it's just tough what they're going to have to give up. So I think you could do Kuminga. I have a 3-team trade here. Hold on. Let me just do the Warriors and the Clippers. I wonder if you can get there. Obviously, you don't want to trade away Draymond, and you're going to do Kuminga. Obviously, Jimmy Butler would get you there, but they said they're not trading Jimmy. You never know in the NBA. So we're what, $17 million off? Buddy Hield would get us close to that. It's tough because we're still about 7 million off. So that means Moody could be on the table, but that's a lot for Harden. And then the Clippers get hard capped at the first apron. So say they throw in Chris Paul, bring him back to Golden State. I'm surprised they could reacquire him. So that doesn't even work. So I guess you do have to jump through some hurdles to end up getting this deal to work. Does Bradley Beal work? No. Yeah, it's tough. Like, does Kobe Brown work? Who's making a little bit more than Chris Paul? I just wondered the idea of James Harden and Steph Curry just like would be kind of cool storyline wise. Like they had their matchups in the 2010s. Sure, it just gives them another offensive weapon, and the defensive infrastructure has been fine this year. So that's an idea. Obviously, you don't want to trade Draymond. And I think they want to keep even all their pieces for Giannis in the offseason, even the Kuminga contract in a way, and obviously Moses Moody. And then the last team, the Detroit Pistons. They need some offense. What sucks with Detroit, you don't want to trade Harris, but that gets you there. That gets you there. I don't think they want to trade Tobias Harris. So say you just flip Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, and Jaden Ivey for James Harden. Does this work financially? I think it does. No, this actually hard caps the Clippers. So say you keep, I mean, they would love to keep Robinson. I don't think this works. And say you threw in B-Ball Paul. Does that work financially? No, right? So say you removed Ivy and you did Duncan Robinson, you did Karis LeVert, you did B-Ball Paul. Oh, wait, they can actually do it just for Robinson and LeVert? Okay. And then you'd probably kick in some draft capital. Like, can I throw in Sasser, 25 years old, but something. And then say you throw in a 26 first and a 27 swap, which you think you're going to be better than them anyway. So you're giving a pick 30 and that's really it. Sure, I would do this. I'm just saying, like, how low is the Harden trade value? If I'm the Clippers, I'm probably not even trading Harden for this. But maybe if Ivy's on the table, like if you're going from Jaden Ivey, does this work financially? If we do Ivy and Robinson, no. And what about if we throw in B-Ball Paul? Does that work financially? It does. I mean, if I'm the Clippers, I'd probably want this type of return, but this also could be too much for Detroit. So that's another team that I would keep an eye on that I think would be fun as a James Harden trade idea team. And that's pretty much it. So I'm very interested to see if he's going to get moved over these next 48 hours. If you guys did enjoy the video, would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you think could happen with James Harden down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.